Yeah, they come in through the heart, right? They want to stay there. What I find is they wrap around. They'll be at the occipital area in the head where they can kind of drive the nervous system. And so people will say a lot of times to me, like, I just can't sleep. I can't, I mean, my adrenals are on all the time. That's because you have this thing, right, that's attached to you. That's in the driver's seat now. And it wants to be there. It wants you to burn out. It wants to take your energy. It wants you to feel fear and, all of that. Yeah.
So when you're looking at some of the areas, the entry areas or entry points, some individuals are also saying that not only do they feel it at the back of the neck, but they also feel in the solar plexus area. So in the underneath your belly button, you feel that tightness, and then you get that funny little sicky feeling where you're a bit nausea, but also you have the three areas. So the heart, the back of the neck, and then just under the belly button. And that's like the what they call complete demonization or possession. Yes. Do you find that?
Absolutely. Yeah. When one has taken over, and I find it takes about 7 years when they're attached, they'll be completely integrated to the person. And that's exactly what I see. The super interesting thing is about that is you almost can't determine what's the personality of the demon and what's the personality of the person. And people will say that too, like, I don't know my daughter anymore, or, that kind of thing. And when they're extracted, they're like, oh my gosh, I got my daughter again. And I can see her, I can see it in her eyes, and she's softer again, and we're communicating. It's really beautiful. It's really deceptive because you can't easily see them. Like, you have to know what you're doing to find them on a person and to see them. And so, yeah, they can really get a hold, especially after 7 years.
They do. And do you find that initially when you get asked for help as a really well-known clandestine demon hunter in America, do you find that sometimes they hide and then you can't find them, or do you have to do a little bit of a Sherlock Holmes to go and root them out and go and find them? How does that work, please?
That is such a great, that's a great question. They absolutely hide. They try to go camouflage, and they're like, even if when you're first, let's say, like, approaching them, I tell people I never make eye contact with them. I don't want to know too much about them because I don't want them to even really detect that I'm there. And you can have big problems that way. But when I sense that they're there, if they sense me at all, they'll wrap around the body and kind of become invisible, or they're kind of almost go inside the person. Very hard to see. Yeah. What else was your other? You had something else. They're tricky. Oh, they can even one extraction that I had Beverli help me with. It actually came off the body as if it had gone away and kind of out of my view. And I was like, oh, it's gone. But then I was going, is it really? Because it looked clear, and then it came right back. And that's when I asked Beverli for a hand, because I knew this was going to be a really tricky bastard to work with. Yeah.
Yeah, they can be. They're quite awful. And then what I wanted to bring Selma in as well, because Selma utilizes soul, some of the soul light language, and we know that the soul speaks to the soul, and it's something that a demon cannot understand. So in your opinion, do you think, Selma, that this particular type of soul-to-soul communication, which is angelic, which is a higher vibration, do you think, in your opinion, this would be a useful tool for a good protection or a good defense against these darker forces?
Yes, absolutely. And not only protection and defense, but also for clearing and healing, for sure. Because as we know, light language, or the voice of the soul, is nothing but vibration, codes, frequencies, movements. So when I talk to you, for example, in this way, okay, Beverli, I have to tell you something. My heart is bumping because I have to tell you, I really dislike you. I really don't like you. Do you believe me? Do you believe me if I tell you this in this way? Why?
No.
Why?
Because of your energy.
Exactly. And when I tell you, I have to tell you something, Beverli. You know what? It's something that has been burning, and I cannot hold it back. I really have to tell you how much I love you. Would you believe me? In this way?
Probably not. but other people might.
Most of the audience won't believe me, because it's not what I say, it's the frequency, the energy, and the vibration behind it. And this is what the light language is. So when I go with intention, okay, even when I work with someone to clear them, to clear their energy, the energy line, the energy fields in the body, even when I do that, I go through the different levels of the chakras. And when I go like to the deeper chakra, even my tone and my voice gets a bit deeper. And the higher I go, the higher goes my voice. So this is something similar. It's like the way how I use it in my tonality, in my voice, in my frequency. So absolutely, yes. For sure.
Yeah. So our demon hunter, Kate, would you agree with those sort of comments? You know, give us your experience and maybe give us some examples of your experience, please.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
Are you when you are, you know, if you're looking at those that are particularly tricky and those that either hide or those that, you know, try to go deeper into the person that you're trying to clear, where they then wrap themselves around the spine and then go deeper into the back of the neck, which is the powerhouse of your beautiful energy that you get. It's in the back of your neck, from the base of your spine to the back of your neck. When you see that sort of thing, do you think that this light language and all these techniques that you're using, could you explain to us and the audience what techniques would you use in order to be able to undertake a successful extraction?
My technique is I always work outside and I have a fire. I work in nature and I have a fire. I have protective crystals and, you know, and things like that with me. But I also know where my strength is too, with the beings that help protect me. I know exactly who they are and I call on them and connect to them. But I'm probably more Hindu in the way that I'm actually chanting while the extraction is occurring. I'm calling in my power help, you know, the earth, the divine. I use Christ, but sometimes Shiva or sometimes Kali will come in. I open that up. Who's here to help this person? Who's here to protect me? Who's here to remove this demon? And I'm actually chanting. I'll actually hear chanting in my head, like singing the praises of the god or goddess that's coming in to help. It's so beautiful. So I'm witnessing it and I'm holding the space for it. That's what I'm doing.
Oh, that's really wonderful.
And Salma, to your point, I'm looking at, when I'm looking at the things that are hiding, I use it like a 12 chakra system where you have 7 chakras in the body and the 5 off. And all the fields wrap around us, right? So the first chakra field wraps around and the second one wraps around that, third and whatever. I'm kind of poking around and looking at where are they, because there definitely will be things hiding kind of in that energy, even curses and hexes and all that stuff too. But the demons too, they'll hide. And like you said, Beverli, they'll go in to hide. They'll come closer to the body. So you almost can't see them. And they can even like mimic like what an organ looks like, or a gland looks like. If you were to look with your mind's eye and you're like, oh, that looks just fine. No, it doesn't. I want to say something interesting if I can. I recently worked with a person that has cancer, and she said, Kate, I want you to take a look and see what's going on. Of course, she had one big nasty demon on her. And when I looked at the rest of it, I go, well, let me check this cancer out. Well, over the area where she had the cancer was a being completely engulfing that. And that was wonderful, because we couldn't, like, if I was energetically going to work with the cancer, I actually couldn't move it. And I was like, why? And I go, oh, I bet there's something here. And it was. It took on the identification of it. Once you remove that, then you can remove the disease and the illness under it. It's the same way with Lyme disease. There will always be a feeder being on a Lyme with a person that has Lyme. What it looks like is a big, it kind of looks like a big nurse spider. I mean, actually, I've actually seen one that had almost a cross on it, like a red cross on it, really nasty. Or they'll look like the in between a tick and a spider, but they will be there just like with a hose to that person, you know, drinking their life force. I've seen that so many times. So
they are particularly nasty. And would you say that we do get a lot of questions about after the extraction, and we do call it an extraction, and perhaps you can explain more about that, but talk about, you know, the extraction process, and then how much of that the subject that is having the extraction undertaken, how much of that will that person actually feel? Is, you know, what is the level that will come through to them, either at a higher spiritual level, higher self, or even in the organic body? How much of that does the individual feel?
That's a great question. What I find is if I'm doing it face to face with them, they'll feel more, and they'll think it has to hurt, and it's going to be like a painful extraction. The way I work and my request to, let's say, the helper beings that are working with me is make it gentle, go slow, make sure the person is feeling relaxed and calm. You know what I mean? Even sometimes I'll see them put like a salve over in between the being and the person as it's being extracted. It literally looks like you're pulling something. You're actually pulling something. You always have claws. You're pulling those out of the person. So you're asking, go very slowly. And then after 7 years, what you're getting is when you're pulling that off, they are really like dust, almost like dust, or when you burn something in the fire, that's the imprint that's left in the body. And so it's not just about removing the being. I'll do that first, but then it's about, let's extract the residual energy it left, and then let's extract the toxins that it had put in the body. The toxins will always look like black sludge, poison. They'll, even if you were going to smell them, vile smell, but there's a process to even get those out. So once I've done that, I'll let the person rest, and I'll come back, because there's more. There will always be more of that sludge and more to remove. Let me see what else you asked, Beverly. What's their process? I hope they don't feel much. They don't report feeling it. I actually like to work at night. I say to the person, I'll probably do it when you're asleep. I'm a night person. I love to work outside at night too, when I can. They'll say, I didn't feel it, or I slept. But they'll say, when I woke up, they say, oh my gosh, somebody turned the sun back on. And they'll have tears. They'll be like, wow, I'm getting emotional about it. They'll have so much tears, and they'll say, like, I'm back. Somebody switched my light back on. Like I was trying to feel myself, and I was trying to drive my life, and I couldn't. And it was like, they said, I'm like, it feels like I'm in the back of a cab and somebody else is driving, and there's plexiglass, and I can't, communicate anything, or I can't, whatever. I'm like totally trapped. And they'll say night and day difference. And then very, very quickly, they'll restore their energy, and they'll restore their health. It's really something. It's, I love it for that. Just for that alone. I love being able to help somebody like that. Night and day difference. I hope I answered all your questions, Beverly.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely, you did. So there's a lot of individuals that ask about, well, I don't believe that I've been to a place where I could either attract or pick up these things, and I don't believe that there's something that could have caused this level of demonic possession or demonization within me. Or do you find that sometimes you have to explain to individuals where there are these attachments? Could you give us some idea of how these things could become attached? What situations are they, apart from the usual, like drinking to excess, smoking green stuff, being, very involved with substance abuse of any type, be that, taking, recreational stuff, which are things we can't say, obviously, or anything like that. Is there anything else other than those that would open the energy body particularly?
Absolutely. Let's say we're tired and we're not feeling well. Maybe we have flu. Anything that kind of compromises our body, like you said, the drugs and the alcohol, complete and utter exhaustion because you're working too hard, and you're not recharging. When we say recharging, it really is recharging. You putting your feet on the earth literally gives you that life force energy back. So if you're not taking time to do that, that's a big red flag. But there's all kinds of events we're involved in. Soccer matches are a great place to catch, a demon energy, especially if you're not feeling that well, let's say. What else have I seen? Oh, I've seen people playing with a Ouija board. Oops, I felt something crawl up my arm and now it's on my back and it won't let me go. And they never thought that was even a reality.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody that has a very serious illness, like a chronic long-term, I see demons attached to them. It's more than one. They'll always have at least one feeder being, sometimes more, but they'll have more energies attached. I think it has to do with the lack of oxygen at times in the body into the brain. And then they'll attach many people that have had a head injury or a concussion of some kind, even if it seems like it's a really light, mild concussion. I'll find a demon attached to that. And they'll be like, well, it can't be. I didn't lose consciousness. It doesn't matter. It only takes a split, not even a second. And that thing is going to be in there if it has the opportunity. It's almost like the other thing is whenever we leave our body, I think we're at risk for that as well. I mean, if you're a remote viewer and you know that your body is protected, you're fine. But there are a lot of people that are going into other realms because they want to explore and they're not realizing, oops, I brought a succubus back with me. I flirted with it and it came back with me. Now it's all wrapped around my spine because that's what they do. And then they literally suck the life out of you. And so they're like, oops, I made a mistake or whatever. So there's a lot of ways. There is indeed. Like when our energy level is down and we're not particularly paying attention. Beverly, let me say one more thing. I think the fact that we don't think they exist gives them the great opportunity to, I'm going to hang around and waiting for my opportunity. Like we've got to really, I'm glad you're getting the word out there because there's a whole unseen world of all these things going on. And if we're not aware of it, we're the prey. I mean, you know what I mean? We're the victims. Yeah. We're not taking it seriously. So
we're the fast food. And that's it. So Ron has come to join us. Let me introduce you to Ron. This is Ron Swanson. This is Kate Snyder and obviously Selma Light Mother, who are our guests on the show. We're having some very serious conversations, and I'm sure that you must have some questions too, Ron.
Well, look, I heard you say every time Beverli batters home about recreational substances and demons, she's only bringing it up to drill it into my brain. Okay, like every single time she's seen me down there, and she was like, "I know you're listening, Ron. I know you're listening." So here's the thing: when we look at history and creativity and creation, music, art, this kind of thing, so much of it can be attributed to substances, shall we say. Do you think that is where this whole concept of demon music and demon concepts come from, because of these psychedelic experiences some individuals have had throughout history?
Are you asking me or?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh, I definitely. Yeah. I think that's part of it, Ron. But I also think that the demonic has been built into our society from the ground up. If you look at how it runs, every system, I'm going to say every system seems like at the top there's live demons or people that are paired with live demons to run things. So I think it's part of our, deeply woven into our culture. It doesn't matter what culture you're from. But yes, I do think that the experience of drugs really would influence people because they're visiting some of the realms. I have a real example of this.
Babe, I'm going to have to step away. I'm getting a real weird.
Yeah.
Feeling,
Ron,
like
let me give you this.
Weird feeling like someone's doing this, like someone's just went like that and started wiggling it around right in my chest. And that's an oddity for me. I don't know what that means. So
yeah,
just
and
give me
luckily you know it's not me, because you know what my, if I start with you, you know
I know
exactly what
exactly
I
what
do.
your finger feels like
I
when it
know,
enters the
yeah,
Beverli
you
Links.
know
I know
when I
exactly what it
start.
feels like. So no, but
It's
that
not
was
me this time.
interesting. See,
Not
that's
me this time.
interesting. Because Bev's
You
told
know
me
what I
that
think it is? You know what I think it is, Ron? I think that the wee chap that helps you out, they do have a reaction to Kate.
Now that was Kate. Can I ask, how did you start out in this? Was there a moment where you were drawn in by something that attacked you, and did it attack your chest or heart? Was there something where it tried to grip and get a hold of you? Because I felt like that. I felt the exact. That was the same feeling as when I do the readings with the cards. When I clock in on someone, it wasn't like I felt something evil was attacking me. I was feeling something that someone's felt, and I'm still learning, ladies. Okay, so if I start rambling a bit, I'm still learning. But that was odd. That was real odd.
Ron, you're right on it. Okay, about a little over 20 years ago, I was a contractor at the Pentagon and the Air Force Base, and I did a large technology project. Here's what I'm going to say. On the weekend that the project was over, I was driving on a mountain road on a full moon night, and a car crossed the line and hit me. I ended up with a major head injury. It was so severe that I had to learn to read again. I had to learn to write again. I had to learn to rebuild my life again. During the process of healing, after surgeries and long stays in a pain clinic, my neuropsychologist said, I want you to see an energetic healer because I think something's going on. And sure enough, big old fat ass demon, right? And other attachments. And when she removed that, I just remember being reintegrated into my body. It's like I could feel myself. I couldn't feel my fingertips almost before. And it wasn't because of anything, it wasn't because of a disease or anything, but it was like I couldn't feel who I was. And when that was removed, the main one, because there were other things underneath it, it turned on a light and I was alive again. And that's how it felt. The crash was like that, but also the demon coming in, and there were interferences as well at the Pentagon for sure.
See, why would I need to know that though? And I'm not going to delve into it now, Kate, but for me, I think it's something else. Because I wouldn't need to I wouldn't need to feel that. Do you see what I mean? So I don't know. I'll figure it out. But there's something.
Okay. Yeah, you bet.
It's weird. It's weird.
Yeah,
Like that happened there. Salma.
Maybe you need that for your kids. Maybe you need that. Maybe you need that knowledge to know how to protect your kids.
Oh, listen. You're talking to. Listen. First of all,
and intentionally, Maybe
first of all, you're talking to a guy who spent almost 10 years putting literally organized crime groups for doing bad things to kids in jail. I am fearless when it comes to them. I'm a pagan witch. This place is sealed at my G. I'm telling you now, the reason I wasn't concerned about what I felt is because I spent 3 years on the wording for the protection that is over me. Because the universe wants to make hard examples. So you're going to word things right. And it took years. So I am beyond arrogantly confident on a spiritual realm that my sole purpose is I'm the guy who's going to eliminate evil from this world. Okay. No deal, no big problem, no big task. That is where my mind's at. So for me to feel that, I usually feel that when I'm drawn to somebody when I do a card reading, and I tap into the one thing that needs answered and solved in that person. I've never felt that happen just for no reason, and I'll get to the bottom of it. And I'll figure it out. So sorry to derail the entire show, and that was record time that I derailed it as well, Beverly. First of all, ladies, thank you for being here.
It's good. It's good. It's all good. And we've got Peyton Lyons Gray saying, I'm here, Kate. So there's our Peyton, which is fantastic.
Beautiful soul. Thank you for being here.
She's lovely. We've got a question also from Uber Fubai. Well, it's not a question. He's just sent a lovely super sticker. Thank you so much for sending the super sticker. We really appreciate it. And we appreciate your questions and your constant support, because I know that you're always here. So thank you so much. There's also a couple of other questions, but I think also if you have any ideas around, some of the signs and symptoms because that would be something that our viewers and people in the chat and others, and even later when this interview is actually reviewed, if there's any signs and symptoms that are just so obvious, you know, because sometimes you get people that say, I just don't feel myself, but I don't know whether I have an attachment or whether there's something walking with me or whether there's an ancestral curse or whether there's something, but they're not sure. What are maybe the top 3 things, let's say, that individuals could do to have a look at themselves, to understand whether there is an attachment with them or whether there isn't an attachment with them?
I'll start with top 3 are chronic exhaustion. I just